We had just moved into our apartment. We were on the second floor. When we first moved in, we had no problems. We loved the apartment. I was pregnant when we had moved in, and I was due in March of 2019. I gave birth. When we brought him home from the hospital, he had his room, we had ours. We had it all decorated and set up. Once we brought him home, it was really weird. He couldn't settle in his room. Of course, it's a baby, but it was really odd because he slept great in our room. Like he was okay, but then if you put him in that room, he was just super unhappy. He would not calm down. We even noticed ourselves. Me and my husband, of course, married people argue, but we were both getting super aggressive. That wasn't like us either. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's just because you have a baby. The room got really cold. It was freezing cold in his room. It was just super uncomfortable. I called maintenance. There was nothing wrong with the ventilation to his room. We would close the door, and the door would be hot to the touch. Extremely hot to the touch. It was so weird because when you go in there, it's ice cold, but then the door itself was hot. My husband was working night, so me and the baby, we would be home by ourselves. He was sleeping in the room with me. Well, I needed something out of his room. I go to open the door, and the candle was just burning hot. It's like, what is going on? So I opened the door because I had to get it out of the room anyways. There was a black figure with red eyes standing in the corner of his room. Just standing there. I shut the door. I called my husband, freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what to do. My husband, he came home. We didn't see anyone in the room. It was gone. My best friend, he is really into the tarot cards. And I was talking to him, and I was like, I don't know what to do. He came over, and he staged the house for us. He was like, something's got to be going on. I asked him, I was like, do the tarot cards, can they answer questions? And he was like, yeah. Do you want me to bring them over, see if we can find out what's going on? He brought them over, and my son, we had his swing set up in our bedroom for him to sleep in. I had the baby monitor pointed at him so I could see him and make sure he was okay. He started asking questions. Did something happen here? He'll flip the card over. Yes. Is somebody trying to hurt us or hurt the baby? The card, I guess he flipped it, was kind of like a maybe. I was sitting in a recliner type seat, and he was sitting on the couch, and my husband was sitting next to him. He looked at me and he was like, Lani, I know you want to ask this question, but I don't think you're going to want to know the answer. I just want to know. And I asked, I said, is there something in the room with my baby right now? He flipped that card. Yes. Immediately, the monitor went black, and my son started screaming. I flipped that recliner, getting up to run back there to make sure he was okay. But within seconds of me asking, is somebody back there with my baby right now? He lost it. The monitor couldn't see anything. When I went back there, the camera was knocked over. And the camera was on the opposite side of where the swing was, pointed at him. Something had knocked it over and I couldn't see him anymore. He was like, we need to sage the house again. We saged that apartment 3 times. We were a month away from our lease, and things kept happening in the apartment. Things that you would think are normal apartment things, but also to an extent not really. We started having a really bad spider problem. We'd never had a problem with spiders before. My son got bit and had to go into the hospital because he had a hole in his arm from where he had gotten bit by whatever this spider was. We found black mold in the apartment. We were having all these problems that we had never had before. When we moved in, it was the apartment was fine. He saged it 3 different times. We were still having problems. One night, my husband was home. My husband was in the kitchen. I was sitting on the bed with our baby. And I was like, John, are you in the hallway? And he was like, no, I'm in the kitchen. Why? There was a figure on the wall. There was a man in my hallway. Or what it looked to be a man. We don't know. Clear as day. Like, there is a person in the hallway. I took a picture of it. I still have it. I still have it on my phone. Immediately, I had my phone next to me on my bed, and I quickly took the picture so I could show my husband. There was somebody in that hallway. My husband was reaching out to everyone to ask for help of like, what do you think we should do? Because it was affecting me, it was affecting our son. It was so weird. The presence in that apartment, it was like the minute that you walked in, you felt like something was just sitting like on you. It was so tense. The minute you walked out of it, it was a breath of fresh air. It was so weird that it started happening after the baby was born. One night, I looked out my window in my bedroom. There was a woman. She was in a gown. She had a walking stick. She did not look like from our time period in any way, shape, or form. I told my husband about her. I was like, somebody's outside the window. I was on the phone with him. And he was like, well, take a picture. I looked down at my phone to take a picture. She was gone. She had looked up at the window and saw that I was looking at her. And when I went to take the photo, she was gone. I asked my neighbor downstairs, hey, did you see a woman last night standing outside? And she was like, no, why? I even asked the front desk at the leasing office, is there a woman that maybe walks around at night? has a cane thing, like kind of like a staff. And she was like, no, why? And I never saw her after that, but she saw me. That terrified me. Something is going on. The apartment itself, we didn't feel safe. We were terrified. With my baby, it was so whatever was in that apartment wanted our baby. We couldn't leave him in his room. He would scream the minute that he was alone. But after that night, when I saw that figure in the hallway, I never put him back in the room again. I kept the door closed. I got his stuff out of the room, all of the stuff that I would need for him, and moved it into my bedroom. We just kept the door closed. My husband reached out to a coworker. He was very strong in church, and asked him, what do you think that we should do? He was like, I have a picture that has been painted of Jesus. If you hung it up in his room, it could possibly help with any bad spirits in the room. I hung it up in my son's closet because it seemed kind of weird that it was specifically in his room. That picture was melted. It got damaged for no reason. It was actual painting, and the paint had melted and dripped down the photo. Whatever was in there did not want us there. The things just kept happening. The black mold, the constant bugs in the house where we never had problems before. It was nonstop. After I saw that guy in the hallway and I took the picture and I showed my husband, we were like, we have to leave. We can't. This is too much. We didn't know what else to do. We kept staging the place. We were doing salt on the windowsills, blessings over the house. My mom is very strong in her faith, and my mom even came in, put her hand on that door, and she was like, something's there. My mom was like, yeah, no. You gotta go. Last I heard about those apartments, they were completely ripped out and remodeled. Foundation and the building is still the same, but they tore out everything on the inside and redid everything. Part of me sometimes wonders, is something following me from my childhood home? Are they connected? It was so weird. The minute that I had a baby of my own, things started happening again. We bought a house after that, moved into our own actual house. We haven't had any problems since then. Is it the same thing that from when I was a kid, or is it something different, or what is it? We're not really sure what that was, but as for my childhood home, I still wonder if something's still there, standing in that window. Whatever was in that window was massive. It was very tall and very, very intimidating.